I'm here to talk about bouncing back and why I believe you truly never come back from maternity leave. Whether you are self employed or whether you work in a corporate job, of course, we talk all about business owning mothers planning maternity leave here on Growing Pains. But I'm so excited to jump into this today. So, I've been told so many lies over my motherhood journey, over the 3 years of supporting women, specifically who run businesses and want to take some time off with their babies. And I'm here to really reveal and get a little bit controversial. So buckle in on this one because I actually believe that we never return from maternity leave. And that's not to say that you don't continue to work in your business. That's not to say that you don't continue to lead your team or build fun things for your audience. But I actually believe that we as women, when we become a mother or we become a mother again, again, or again, we actually lose the old version of ourselves. Not to say that there aren't threads that continue, of course, desires, goals, ambitions, all those things. But I actually believe that, like a snake, we shed our skin and we become something different. And it's not always a huge internal shift, but it can be these subtle nuances that change us every single time that we bring a new baby into the world. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I founded Master Maternity Leave and why I found that this experience and this time was so unsupported from a systems perspective is because there's a lot of rhetoric around bouncing back, about doing everything the same way, but with a baby on your hip. Or you can just get up in the morning and do everything that you need to do before your kiddos wake up. Hello. Not working, not helpful, and also full of lies. Like a lot of women who preach these types of things, they know internally that it doesn't always work. And even if it works for them for a short time, it's not the end all be all or something that works in every single season. So I believe that we don't ever come back from maternity leave. And it's because we become a new version of ourselves. We've got another thing vying for our time. We've got another piece of our heart living outside of our body. So emotionally speaking, right, we're just a little bit more everywhere, right? Like, I mean, it's funny. I was on a coaching call earlier this week, and one of the moms was talking about, her challenges with ADHD. And I actually shared this really controversial take that I think that ADHD is developed when you become a business owner or when you become a mom. And when you are both, then you may start to listen to podcasts or hear interviews of neurodivergent founders and be like, oh crap, I do some of that stuff. And I believe that it's not a bad thing. It just is, right? You fill your life with so many things that you are passionate about, that you care about, and you're living this really full life. It is impossible to believe that you can actually be in one place at one time. I'm here recording this podcast for you, and downstairs my kiddos are playing. I'm wondering what they're doing, if they're happy, if somebody's hurt, right? If I hear a scream. Those things are very normal and natural. And I actually believe that they are features inside of building a really incredible business and an audience that connects with you, the full human being, not just the service or the products that you provide. So let's talk about some of these lies. Number one, you bounce back from maternity leave or having a baby. I believe that every mom's experience is different. If you have multiple kiddos and you're listening to this, you may have even experienced that your kids are different in the, bounce back, quote unquote, season. I remember bouncing back, quote unquote, or like getting back into working out and eating healthy and all those things on the heels of my second son versus my first. I remember feeling in the early stages postpartum with my first son, like I just needed to rake myself over the coals and I needed to do every single thing for my family and I couldn't leave my baby. It was just so full of postpartum anxiety. I can't even begin to describe, but you don't bounce back, right? There's no like set in stone time where your body comes back. I mean, transparently, my body's never come back from both of my pregnancies. I've got stretch marks. Things don't fit the way that they usually fit. I get really hungry. So my blood sugar levels are all over the place all the time. My hair color is different. My hair texture is different. So all that to say, this kind of lie about bouncing back, I actually believe is not only not true, but it's also not helpful because you don't actually want to go through this huge transformation in your life and be the same person that you were. Hear me out on this. Imagine you pay tens of thousands of dollars and invest a ton of years into getting a PhD. And when you get your PhD, then you just go on as normal and you stay in the same job and you write the same articles and you do all the same stuff. That's not why people pursue a PhD. They pursue a PhD to continue to get research funding or continue to become a leader or an expert in their field or to change their role and become more eligible for upper echelon types of positions in other companies. And so the reason I share this is because you don't go through all of this experience and all of these changes just so that you can go back to exactly the way things were. That doesn't make any actual sense when you think about growing your family and becoming a mom and a business owner. So to me, I'm like, well, if I'm going through this experience, my goal isn't to bounce back. My goal is to bounce forward, right? So bouncing forward might look like getting to know yourself in this new season. Bouncing forward might look like creating new systems to support you that you didn't previously have, right? Allowing you to show up and be a more present parent or to actually earmark some time to take care of yourself and put your priorities first in the season. So bouncing back is not the goal. It's actually bouncing forward and actually embracing this new version of you, this one that's got the battle scars, that's seasoned, that's gone through this incredible transformation, that has learned all of these lessons in leadership. I mean, we really can bounce forward as we become moms. The second big lie that we're told is that you can do everything the same way, but with a baby on your hip. I'm here to tell you that that is fully untrue. And I remember suffering a lot in the early postpartum season with my first son, Frank, when I believed this lie. And I always just thought that my sheer tenacity and grit would just pull me through pretty much everything. I would run through walls where there weren't any doorways. And that was just my personality. And a lot of ways it still is like that. I'm very tenacious. I'm very resourceful. I can often find solutions to problems that other people find, really challenging or overwhelming or cumbersome. And I do think that that's part of my skill set. And I've kept some of that right into the way that I support moms in our bond program and the way that I support our one-on-one clients, who come in and I'm on the phone with the state being like, no, you got to give her this, or here, give me the exact link to do the application. Like I can do that. No problem. What I cannot do, however, is shoulder every single thing and also be carrying a baby and shouldering every single thing there. So we need to make sure that we can create some systems or create some structure inside of our life that actually supports the type of mom that we want to be. And one of the biggest systems that I want to talk about today, I mean, you guys know if you've listened to the podcast or any of our content, I'm a huge systems nerd. I've been an operations strategist for almost 10 years. My biggest thing that I didn't learn early enough in motherhood is having a system through which I can say no confidently. And this kind of all goes back to, you can do everything the same way with a baby on your hip. Before Frank came, I was working 80 hours a week in the business. Steve was in the military. He was gone on trainings and overseas. And it was just a lot of stuff. I was alone a lot, me and my pup loose. And I was home, I was working, and I didn't have to feel bad. I didn't have to feel guilty about working. I just did the things that I wanted to do. I built the systems or the marketing that I wanted to build. I would take on as many clients as I felt like I wanted to take on as it directly related to my time. And that was that. And once Frank came, I remembered being everything to everyone inside of my business. So I had a couple of teammates at the time. And all of them were contractors, by the way, no like formal teammates in terms of employee. And what ended up happening is they all also reverted back to old habits because I didn't teach them the new way of how to interact with me. So I was getting Slack messages all the time, emails all the time, sometimes text messages directly to my phone when I was with my baby. And it felt really intrusive, but I had to remember that I trained them that I would say yes to the things that they were asking me, and I did. They would text me and I'd be like, "Yeah, sure, I can take care of that, like, no problem." And I would just shoulder all of this weight. And so having a system in place through which you say no confidently is a really incredible unlock for new moms who really feel like they want to get back into the swing of things, but they don't want to go back to the old status quo. They don't want to be that person at the center of everything that gets asked all the questions and all the requests and all the things. So when you think about your focus, so what is my focus in this season is a really important question to answer. I often find that you can kind of feel into your seasons, or you can just kind of revisit this question every 90-ish days as a business owning mother. It's super, super important. And if you're currently pregnant, thinking through what is the priority for this season and what is an immediate yes and what is an immediate no. And do this work ahead of time. Like find your best time where you're feeling really reflective or, super early in the morning before you get into the thick of the day. Bonus, if you can get your executive assistant or whoever supports you inside of either this meeting or on board with this yes no list, and really think about what is an immediate yes in this season and what is an immediate no in this season. And I love doing this work because it almost just makes the decision for you so that you don't have to get caught up in like the emotional roundabout of saying no to somebody because you've already made the decision, and you can just say something really simple like, "Hey, thank you so much for this ask, and I actually feel like I'm really stretched thin this season, and so this is gonna have to be a no for me now, but please think of me whenever, this comes up again," or whatever that looks like. Additionally, too, if you want to empower your team a little bit more, something that we do, or did in operations agency, but we still do in master maternity leave, is I have this core value that our team can make excellent version ones. And the reason I share this is because a lot of times your team can come to you and be like, just in this old pattern of, hey, can you do blank? Or can you tell me what you mean when you say blank? And then you end up doing the majority of the work, or you end up handholding your team through something. And, you know that your team may be incredibly capable to do this thing. And so what I did was I said, hey, our team can create amazing version ones. And so oftentimes the rule was whenever you come to me, unless it's like a big strategic question, if you're like, hey, what should this person's onboarding process look like? Or, where we're whiteboarding out the sales process, like, what do you think this should look like? I'd be like, where's the version one? And it's a really simple, very benign question. Where's the version one really means, did you put some thought into this because you're here? Because I believe that you can start to solve some of these problems. You don't need to lean on me for every single thing. So I'd always be like, well, where's the version one? And if there wasn't one, it ended up quickly getting created, or over time, honestly, nobody on my team comes to me with like a blanket question of, oh, how do I do blank? Because they know that there's resources and they're expected to make a version one, right? You can ask for support. You can create systems that allow you to say no really confidently inside of the business. And I actually believe that doing everything the same way with a baby on your hip is like an express lane to feeling overwhelmed and stretched too thin and not doing anything really excellent in any direction. It also, I think, has the exact recipe for a lot of women who experience burnout or a lack of passion, lack of excitement around their work. And it's because they just feel like they're at the center of everything and they're the bottleneck. If this is you and you are pregnant, I encourage you to register for our free training. It's the Entrepreneur's Maternity Leave Blueprint. I really layer on my 10 years of operations experience into this training. And you can go register at mastermaternityleave.com/workshop. That's a really, really great one. So if you want to go in and register for that, I think it'll get you kind of freed up from some of the challenges that exist around removing yourself from the business if you are currently pregnant. Final lie that I want to discuss is that you can get up and do everything before the kids wake up. I want to say this one because I just want to be honest with you guys. I wake up and I do a lot of work before my kids wake up. And this is true. And it's also true that in certain seasons, like for example, summertime, when the sun rises really early, my kids are like up. They're very, very up. And I can't quite focus for the amount of time that I used to, either in winter months or when they were younger and they would sleep a little bit longer. It was just a lot. And I also know that I'm very, very grateful for the fact that my kids are excellent sleepers. And both of them have been. I honestly value my sleep probably over most things. I've always been a big sleeper, and I think both my kids thankfully got that from me. And my moms who do not have excellent sleeper kids or do not feel like they're morning people, because I'm also a morning person, they struggle with this, and they struggle with this advice very, very hard. And I think that just like the whole bouncing back thing, we're in a position where we're telling people that this strategy works for everyone, and it super duper doesn't. So here's a couple of things I'll share. Number one, you can absolutely get up and care for yourself before your babies get up, potentially. If you have a good sleeper, if you've got someone who's going to sleep until 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you can get up, you can stretch a little bit, you can do whatever it is that you need to do to like fill up your cup, move your body. I often try to do my workouts in the mornings before the kids wake up. That's like my non-negotiable bonus if I can do some work and also get my workout in. But for the most part, I'm like prioritizing the workout, and then that's kind of it. The other thing that I wanna say is that you can also do a mid-morning kind of reset, and this all kind of depends on how you want to structure your schedule, but again, you're not bouncing back, you're bouncing forward. New ways of doing things, stricter boundaries around your schedule, and really looking at your schedule to say, "Great, if I can't wake up and do my, uninterrupted head down work first thing in the morning before my kids wake up because they either wake up too early, I'm not a morning person, that this just doesn't fit my lifestyle," then what you can do is I used to do the mid-morning head down work, which I thought was super, super helpful, especially when the kids were very little. So I would wake up, I would do my personal stuff. So like go for a walk, go for a run, of course, after the doc cleared me and all those types of things after I had my kiddos. And then I would do the whole crazy breakfast thing. So like Steve and I would get the kids up, we would get them dressed, teeth brushed, do breakfast, do the whole nine. And then the first block of time that I had in each of my days usually is not calls. And I usually do keep that pretty sacred. I usually try to only start taking calls around 10 o'clock ish my time. So that from about 8:30 to about 10 o'clock, I have like head down time that I get to work on the things that I know for sure are pushing the business forward. And this is not like open up your email inbox and respond or open up Slack and respond to every single thing that's been sent to you in the last 24 hours. This is like I'm writing my book. I need to write that thing. I'm creating a new course. I need to film those videos. I am writing out a new email series for people on my email list, or I'm trying to find new clients to fill my calendar. Those are the types of activities that you want to do in that first part of the day. Stuff that brings you revenue, stuff that brings you additional joy, things that move your ambition and your success forward. Those are the types of things that I really want you to focus on in that time because I believe that, doing everything before the baby wakes up isn't as important as getting the things that are important done and having a portion of your day dedicated to those things. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, Allie, guess what? I need to answer Slack messages and emails from clients and things like that. I think there's absolutely a time to do that. I answer email 2 times a day. One is right before lunch. I usually hit like a plateau around 11:30ish. And what ends up happening for me is I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take the rest of that, 30 minutes, my brain's sort of on autopilot, and I'm just going to go ahead and respond to a handful of emails or send my team some voice messages about what to do next, right? So there's that. The second time is also right before I close down for the day. So I love to be there to get my kids up from nap at 3:30. And so what I do is at about 3 o'clock, I don't take any more calls or have any more things by 3 o'clock. And so I have a half an hour to kind of decompress and get some things out the door for the day so that when I go down and I am with my kiddos and I'm with my husband, I can be in a position where I can be more fully present with them because I know that I've answered some of those basic emails and communication that need to go out. I also, little hack if you have an admin or somebody who's supporting you, I put my email times that I'm answering emails in my calendar. And so if my admin is looking at my email inbox and she's like, hey, I really need this response. And my whole team has access to my calendar too, so they can put stuff on there within, of course, my boundaries and my reason. They can go in and say, hey, I really need the answer to this question. And then I can go in and make sure that they have what they need. Because sometimes I don't jump back in and check Slack in the afternoons. And that can sometimes hold my team up. And I've realized that over the years. And so you can kind of build these sorts of systems in. General thing that I want to just encourage you with is that you don't come back from maternity leave. A new version of you supports your business. And my hope is that through the experience, the transformation, hopefully getting some support from programs like ours, you can come back as a better business owner after maternity leave. You can build a, system inside of your business that allows you to say yes to the things that are moving the needle and no to the things that aren't. Creating systems around how your team interacts with you, interacts with the business, interacts with your clients, and of course, making sure that you're in a position where you can get your best work done and really further the mission of the business without feeling like you're stuck in the weeds. Because I don't know about you, but I feel like whenever, and there are times, I'm not saying that you can escape, having to review your tax return. Like those things just suck. And it's just going to be what it's going to be regarding running a business and having a family. But I know that that's not the majority of my work, and I wanna make that really, really clear. The majority of my work that I am doing, I actually feel like is righting a wrong in the world, and I actually firmly believe that I am the person who's best suited to solve this problem. And that type of belief, that type of passion, the type of alignment that I've got with my work, I'm not saying this to be boisterous or bold or braggadocious or any other B word that we want to put in here, but I'm actually so much more confident leaving my kids when I have to leave them because I know that I'm working on my best work, because I know that I'm serving people. I mean, one of our gals in the bond program, she's a tutor at home with kiddos who are learning to read. And one of the things she said to me is she was like, "I know that I'm making a difference for families." And the power in her statement there, the power in her understanding her value and her worth in these families and how much these families just adore her and the results that she gets for their kids and helping them to read. That's the type of thing that I want you to think about spending your time on. That bouncing back may mean that you're bouncing back into old routines that do not freaking serve you. They don't serve you, they don't serve your family, they don't serve your client to the deepest level, and bouncing forward into the new type of leader that you want to be in your home and your business is the thing to pursue. So I hope that this was a little controversial, a little jolt of excitement and enthusiasm. Of course, if you want to learn more about what we do and how we support our signature program, Bond is the place for business owners who are currently expecting and want to plan maternity leave. You can learn more at mastermaternityleave.com/bond. And thank you as always for joining me on Growing Pains. I'll see you guys next time.